Is that the right way? We go this?
No, we work that.
Or are we supposed to go this way? This way? How do we go from there to there? Was I supposed to go that way? I go this way then, right? Yes.
Can I be next?
Yeah, you just gotta be a bit more proactive, dude. Be like, over here, Tubby!
Hi, Kevin. My name is Zach Smith, which means that we're obviously related.
In some way, I can see.
Isn't that crazy? Especially
particularly around the eyes.
You know what? It's actually a genetic birth defect that happens in, 1 in 100 million people, where 2 Caucasians actually produce an Asian child.
That happens?
It happens. It's bizarre, but
you know what I read? Speaking of, you're probably kidding, right? That doesn't really happen.
No. Absolutely not. It's called adoption, but I like to fuck with people because you tell them adoption and they just kind of look at you like, what does that mean? So, anywho, you were gonna say?
I read something in the newspaper yesterday that it sounds like it's made up like that did, but is true. There was a chick and a guy who got married, and they'd had lots of sex before they got married, but always, with condoms and shit. Which I'm like, really? In this day and age? They got married, and on their wedding night, they were like, okay, now we can take them off because it's time to have kids. If we get pregnant, it don't matter anymore. And they fucked, and she just started screaming and scrubbing at her legs, at her crotch and whatnot. It turns out, this is a true fucking story.
I know what you're gonna say.
It turns out that her body is chemically allergic to her husband's sperm.
Isn't that the shit?
Isn't that amazing? And they didn't know, she had welts and what do they call blisters and shit like that? Yeah. And her body apparently, when semen is introduced into her system, her body attacks it and kills it one night.
Feel for that one.
Why? Because that just means tons of anal.
I didn't think that like that. That's
I read that story, I immediately went, this dude's gonna get a popping in the ass left and right. Because that's the only thing you can say at that point. You're like, well, I'd like to come in you. And she's like, I'd like to not burn, motherfucker, with your alien type sperm and shit. Anyway, how are you? I'm sure I read that. It must be true. I read it
that's unbelievable. Everything you read there. It's correct. First, I need to say that my friend Ramsey would love to have been here if he hadn't got stricken with the flu, so I told him that if I got to ask a question, I would definitely mention his name.
Which flu? Is it swine flu or kosher flu?
Kosher. Because, he was going to ride down with us, and that wasn't going to happen if it was swine flu. But my question is basically this. I was really sad to hear the Weinsteins passed on Red State. I know that you don't want to do that film next. You want to do a hockey film called Hit Somebody.
Hit Somebody, yeah.
Now, I know Mosier is looking to direct,
yeah,
and I was wondering if he's going to come back and produce those 2 films.
I don't know. I guess we'll see, scheduling-wise, when they happen. Because now it's time for Scott to go do what Scott's going to do, And it's like, after 15 years of nursemaiding me in my career, it's time for, he didn't go to film school to become a producer. He went to film school to become a filmmaker. And he was very gracious, and very graciously, over the course of 15 years, helped me make all my dreams come true. So at a certain point, it's taken years for me to get to this point, but at a certain point, you just have to let that person go, man, because that's not what they're meant to do. It's a beautiful gesture, but he's meant to go do something else. So there's a part of me that's just like, even if I finish and he's not working, I'll just be like, no, go do your thing, because otherwise you'll never do it. Jump now, or you're not going to jump. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. It could still happen. But I'm more supportive of him going to do his thing right now.
Absolutely. Now, what was the reason the Weinsteins passed on Red State? Can you tell?
Harvey said that this is a Bob movie. He's like, I read it. It's a Bob movie. It's about fucking demons and shit, isn't it? I said, there's no demons in it. He's going, well, whatever. It's like a horror movie. I was like, well, it's not, He's like, is it more like a horror movie than like fucking Clerks? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, then give it to Bob. So I brought it over to Bob. His brother runs Dimension, and Bob was like, this is a heavy movie. I was like, what? And he was like, it's more of a heavy movie. They're just thinking too much in this movie, man. And so I went back to Harvey and I was like, Bob said, and he's going, well, Bob's wrong, it's a Bob movie. And I was like, oh man, I'm being a coal miner's daughter. So, with that, I was just like, look, just pass. If you guys are going to play this game, just pass, man. No worries if you don't dig it. And they were like, it's just we don't know that the audience exists for it. This is the beginning of the end of the Weinstein financial woes. So it was when first time we realized, wow, these dudes might not have as much cash as they used to, because it's a $5 million movie. And they've been in business with me for like 15 years, and they know that like every flick I do makes between 25 and 30 million dollars. So if we were going to make this movie for 5 million, they know they're going to make profit, but they just didn't have the bank to do it. They had to like pick their projects a little more carefully. So I understood. I was like, whatever, it's fine. And I also, you know, can totally read the script, look at the script, and stand back from it and see it for what it is. It is completely uncommercial. There's nothing remotely commercial about it. I can understand why people don't want to invest in the movie, because it's just like, you won't see your money back. It's grim, it's dark, it's negative, it's a nasty fucking mirror held up to, you know, American society and shit. And nobody wants that. People want to go to the movies and escape and fucking, you know, watch cars turn into robots. So, you know, I get it, and I can't be mad about it. That's why it's taken like 2-3 years to find some cash for Red State and shit. So, you know, every time we hear like, ooh, this may be working out, then that goes away or something like that. So I don't know, we just kind of hatched an idea for it recently, and I guess probably in January folks will start knowing about it. But I don't know, I realized with that flick, sooner or later I just got to nut up and be like, well, I am the guy who made Clerks. You know what I'm saying? It's weird to be the guy who made Clerks and then sit around now and be like, why won't anyone give me money for my movie? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh my God, you fucking piece of shit. Go finance it yourself. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. But here's the thing, I would invest in it myself, but investing in a Kevin Smith movie is a bad fucking idea. I like to make them, I don't want to pay for them anymore. So, I don't know, we're figuring out something else. It's going to happen, but it's just, I get it. I understand why it's taking time to find money. I understand why they pass. I understand why anybody would pass on it. But that's why I like it, too. Because people are just like, that's the way they felt about Clerks, too. We showed so many people Clerks, and people were like, I don't know what to make of this. And so I feel like we're on the right track. You good? You got more? You can ask more.
Well, actually, I was going to say, if I could call him,
yeah.
Ramsey,
call
you could say hi. All right.
We're going to go on with the show, but you call him.
I will.
No, I mean, I'm not going to talk. You call him.
Okay, my bad.
Go ahead, call him. Come on up.
Okay. Come on up.
Well, I mean, yeah, otherwise we got to come up. What's up, sick puss? He's not saying anything. Hey man, how are you? Good, how come you're not here? It is the swine flu. I told you I don't dig on swine. How is it? Let me ask you, how long have you had it? And it's official H1N1? What, you were diagnosed on Wednesday? Have you jerked off since then? Does it come out all piggy and curly like a pig's tail? That's what I'm spreading on the internet. I'm telling people one of the symptoms is when you jerk off and cum, it comes out like a curly corkscrew. Can you back me up? I appreciate that, Ramsey. You're good people. Feel better, brother. Feel better. No problem.